Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Patra and this is your favorite show, Daily Calls, a show that addresses all of your stock-related queries. In case you're here for the first time, the WhatsApp number is flashing on your screens. This is where you can send in all your questions about the portfolio that you have, any of the new stocks that are coming onto your radar, or what exactly should be the strategies in this extremely volatile market scenario as well, and right ahead of the budget. So everything is something that we will get catered to in this show. So we will have top market experts joining in and you could be asking them your queries. Let's welcome Mr. Kunal Rambia, our first guest on the show today, the founder of The Streets. Warm welcome, Kunal. Good to have you with us. Like I pointed out, it's been an absolute volatile scenario, 3 to 4 days of absolute pain that we've seen. And right now, we're seeing the Nifty back above 23,000 odd levels. What's really happening in the markets? Why so much volatility and what's the best way to deal with it?
Actually, thanks for having me on the show and good afternoon to all our viewers also. So if you look at the Nifty performance over the last 3 to 4 months, yeah, certainly we have seen the downtrend continuing in the midterm range. But at the same time, if we look at the overall trend of the last 4.5 years, it's still somewhere intact. Though we saw the consolidation break down yesterday, and that was honestly very scary. That was below 23,075. But today we have reclaimed that zone. That confirms that the indices are not really giving up. At the
Yeah.
same time, the focus is shifting now from the large cap to mid cap. So I think, sorry, the mid cap to large cap. So yeah, so from here on, I think the focus on large caps and those, the counters which you have not really performed or participated in the up rally of 2024 might be in limelight going forward.
Okay, got that. So that's the overall view that's coming in. Kunal, we already have a lot of questions, so I'll keep taking some of those questions and keep coming back to the market strategies also throughout the course of the show and our conversation. We'll take our first question from one of our YouTube viewers. This is from Imtiaz Ahmed. He says, good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon to you as well, Imtiaz. He says, could you please give your valuable suggestion on SJVN? I already have this stock in my portfolio and I bought it at the levels of 120. Nothing's happening here. So what's next? SJVN, what would your view be?
It's actually again for the entire year of 2024, counter was decisively holding on to 98 to 100 zone. In fact, that zone was tested 4 times in the year 2024. Recently, we have seen the breakdown happening. Now, if I come to the weekly chart, it's the first week where we are seeing the closing, assuming closing coming lower than 95 to 100. So, yeah, this is the zone to watch out for. If the counter decisively gives a closing below 95 to 100 zone this week, and if the same thing continues over the next week also, then I think this entire uptrend of last 4 years is coming to an end, and one needs to take care of the capital. So bound the sell on rise can be the good strategy. But if the counter manages to reclaim 9500 zone by weekend, I think that can be a good opportunity to go long also, because our viewer already has a position. Maintain the stop loss of 90 for now, and revisit our channel and ask someone who is available next week again. I think this level can be good level to average out also and buy for the long term also.
Got that. Okay, so there you have it, a view that's coming in on the view on SJVN as
SJVN.
well. Yeah, so Kunal, another question that we have is from Archana Sahu. She says, most of the stocks in my portfolio are more than in 10% losses. Could you please suggest if I can average them at these levels, or is there more downtrend left? Well, Archana, we will have to really see the stocks in your portfolio. So you give us some names and then we can probably address that as to whether stocks specifically there are some averaging suggestions at this point in time. But like you said, the markets itself has been like so down. So it's natural that some of the stocks are actually going down 10-20% on a day-to-day basis as well. So overall, that's the kind of pain that we are seeing. Send us some questions and then maybe we can revisit your question. Next, we have Kamlesh Narkere writing in. Says, hi Sakshi, Kane's Technologies I have and I have Newgen Software. So Kane's, I bought it at 2400 and Newgen I bought at 1100. I do have a long-term view, but what do I do now in this fall? Should I add or not? Okay, so for Kane's, your actually buying price is much lower. So you're still in like good amount of profits despite the 18.5% losses today. So don't worry at this point in time is what I would say, because your purchase level is still much lower, so you don't have to immediately panic at anything right now. The other one you have is at Newgen Software, which you bought it at 1100. Currently the stock is at 1009. Here it's definitely come down below your purchase level, so we'll address this entire space. Now there is another important trigger here, and that is the DeepSeek impact that we are seeing actually. Kunal, most of these stocks, some of them which have a link to either semiconductors, some of them which have either a link to AI or have been planning their expansion there, have been already proposing some, focus on AI related business, is something that's actually pulling down some of these stocks, sharply lower. You have NetWeb Technologies that's lower. There's Anant Raj that's lower. So all of these stocks, in fact, have lost a lot of ground over the last few days. Of course, Keynes is a results impact, and Keynes is also a guidance cut impact. So it's not just one impact that's on that, but overall. So we'll first address these two stocks specifically, Kunal, Keynes and Newgen, which is of our viewer, and then we will address the overall impact of DeepSeek on Indian AI companies. So help us with Keynes first post earnings. What are you suggesting?
Absolutely. So on the Keynes, what the observation was that on 19th of December, this counter had the massive volume. That volume was as high as 3.1 million shares, which were traded, and the counter, which went up to as high as 7,800, gave a closing near 7,250. Now that was the first scariest sign that why the volumes are so high near the high itself, and the counter is giving up on the gain. After that, it entered into sideways consolidation, and the first breakdown happened. That breakdown level was around 6,200. This entire uptrend came to an end near 6,200 levels. And post that, now today what we are seeing is a gap down again because of result impact, as you rightly mentioned. So the level to watch out for now, because our viewer is holding on to this counter since long. So the level to watch out here is actually 4,500. If the counter remains below 4,500 for next 2 to 3 days, then one needs to be cautious on this entire trend coming to an end. Sell on rise can be good strategy on this, but by any chance, if the next 2 3 days counter reclaims 4,500, then we might see sideways consolidation and a positive rally in the next quarter itself, because the guidance given by the company in management is still intact on the yearly front. So I think then the price reaction might just get adjusted accordingly. So 4,500 is a ballpark figure to watch out for now. Coming to the next
Okay.
counter, I think that was New Gen Technology, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Newgen
This counter
Software.
has perfect. This counter also came down significantly from 1750 to as low as 1030. Now, September 2024 so far, this counter was consistently taking support at 1050. Today, in fact, in day's trade, it went down to as low as 950, but has reclaimed that level of 1010 to 20 next 2 to 3 days. If the counter manages to stay near to this level, or say reclaims 1050 mark, I think this is absolutely fine to hold on for now. Keep the stop loss of 990 to 980 on the closing business.
Okay, got that. So that's the view. Now, the overall AI impact is something that, Kunal, if you could help all our viewers to understand a little bit better. Now, we do know that in the last 2 3 days odd, there is this sudden talk about DeepSeek's rise, which is a Chinese AI company. Now, they have created an open source AI model, something like ChatGPT. But what has caught the attention of the Silicon Valley in the US and worldwide, all the technology enthusiasts, is that this company, it's a startup company, it's been able to generate something similar to generative AI and OpenAI model like ChatGPT just within few months, whereas ChatGPT, it really took years to get created and was created in a large amount of money. This was created in under $6 million, so at a fraction of the cost of what some of the other AI models were created. Now, even President Donald Trump has come out to say that this is a wake-up call for US industry, and this also has generated some kind of a fear as to whether the dominating US tech giants so far will sustain their dominance or not, because they have been pumping in so much money, they've been raising so much money to create such technologies. Now, all of this is under question because Chinese technology and Chinese AI companies are now coming into this race, and they're coming and claiming it to be more efficient than the existing technologies as well. So I want to understand, where does India really stand now in all of this? Do you really think an impact which is being seen in the last 1 or 2 days to be just a knee jerk, or could there be more for us to really see here?
See, to be very honest, again, it will be too early to say whether it's going to be knee-jerk reaction on such counters. But as far as
Yeah.
India story is concerned on this AI front, we are far behind in this competition, to be very honest. And our IT segment is mainly focusing on outsourcing work. I think that will continue, but we are not the part of this war anyway going forward. The such kind of steps were likely to come when Mr. Donald Trump was appointed as the president of the United States, because this is something which we saw even in 2018-19. This time, the shape of the story is a little different. That's on the technology front. Now, to be honest, this upcoming story is very at the developing stage itself. So it's very difficult to comment on what will happen going forward. But what I can tell you about the Indian stocks which are reacting to it, and let's take an example of Anantraj Industries. Now, this Anantraj, as the price action on the price action front, this counter has opened up multifold. I mean, just look at the price during 2022. The counter, which was trading at 50 rupees, has went up to as high as 1750% and made a higher near to 900 mark. And now what we are seeing is a reaction on this update, and the counter is down by 35%. Such kind of reactions are very common. And when the trend emerges like this, the leverage positions which are built up on these counters are difficult to handle upon. Probably that's the reason we are seeing the price coming down this way. I think time will tell us whether the investors will get an exit from such kind of counters. But yeah, one needs to be very careful on the risk management front on these counters. But I'm not really updated about the story, and I'm not really sure about how the things will shape up going forward, because it's an upcoming story as of now.
Sure. Let's take another question then from our viewers. Mohit from Ludhiana writes in. He says, can I purchase Delta Corp at these levels? I have a 3-year horizon. Please guide. Again, Delta Corp has a unique business, has one of the moats, which is like rarely in any listed company, operates casinos, and has a license for operating casinos in India. But then there has been a lot of regulatory issues, taxation issues that Delta Corp has always dealt with. How would you really look at this one right now? Let's stretch the chart a little bit to see how last 6 months and last 1 year has been for the company. Last 6 months, to 25% drop. And in the last 1 year also, if we pull up the chart, we'll see that 28% of a loss has been seen. So whatever gains we saw probably near April or May, that's also lost a lot of ground now. We are at the year low kind of a phase. Your sense on Delta Corp at 99, 47% it's lost in 2 years.
See, with all due respect to our viewer query, why to buy such counters which have not really performed in last 3 to 4 years also? I mean, look at the counters volatility between 2018 to 20, it lost around 86%, reclaimed that lost ground in 2 years, but 22 onwards, this counter is down by 71%. April 2022 levels are 340, and right now it's trading at 99. I mean, buy something which is trending in nature, number one, and available to you at the support level in such kind of rallies, in such kind of corrections. So rather than buying Delta Corp, I would not really advise buying Delta Corp for next 3 years also, because of the extreme volatility and lack of clarity on the good level to enter. So it's a clear avoid on this counter for now.
Okay. नेक्स्ट विल टेक अवनीश चौधरी क्वेश्चन. ही सेज, हाय मैम, इरिडा में आज 182 का लेवल भी टूट गया है. मेरे पास ये स्टॉक 223 के लेवल से है. तो अब ये लगातार जो मार्केट क्रैश हो रही है, इसमें क्या किया जाए? क्या इसमें और ऐड किया जाए इरिडा को इस करंट लेवल पर? 183 पर फिलहाल चल रहा है, लेकिन हाँ, इससे नीचे गया था ये स्टॉक. कुणाल, किस तरीके से देखते हैं आप इरिडा को? ये एक ऐसा स्टॉक था जो कि इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए काफ़ी पसंदीदा स्टॉक था रेन्यूएबल एनर्जी स्पेस में. जब से ये कंपनी लिस्ट हुई थी तब से लेकर एटलीस्ट 6 महीने तक हमने इस स्टॉक में काफ़ी बढ़िया मोमेंटम देखा, और उसके बाद जब से ये बाजार में 4 महीने से कंसोलिडेशन शुरू हुआ है, इस स्टॉक ने भी वापस वो लेवल्स नहीं देखे हैं और काफ़ी लंबा अरसे का कंसोलिडेशन और करेक्शन हो चुका है. इरिडा को अभी आप कैसे देखते हैं?
साक्षी, मैं हर बार जो लेवल्स की बात करता हूँ, हिस्टोरिकल प्राइस की बात करता हूँ, द ओनली लॉजिक बिहाइंड दैट इज टू अंडरस्टैंड वेदर दिस काइंड ऑफ करेक्शन, जो हमने करेक्शन देखा है वो पहली बार देखा है कि हमने पास्ट में भी देखा है. अगर
जी.
इरेडा की लिस्टिंग की बात करें तो नवंबर 2023 से लेके अब तक एक भी बार वीकली चार्ट में नया बॉटम नहीं बना है। एवरी बॉटम इज हायर बॉटम। हमने जो प्रीवियस बॉटम देखा था वो नवंबर 2024 में देखा था, जो करीब करीब 180 लेवल्स का था। आज
ठीक
के
है।
दिन काउंटर ने 177 का लो किया है, बट एज ऑफ नाउ 183 पे चल रहा है। काउंटर ने प्रीवियस बॉटम भी ब्रेक नहीं की है। सो अगर ट्रेंड की बात करें तो ट्रेंड साइडवेज है। लॉन्ग टर्म ट्रेंड अभी भी पॉजिटिव है। अब इसे अप्रोच कैसे करना है, तो इस लेवल पे डेफिनेटली खरीदारी की जा सकती है रादर देन सेलिंग। अगर काउंटर 175 के नीचे डिसाइसिवली क्लोज आउट देता है तो ये पूरा ट्रेंड शायद नेगेटिव होगा, तब हमें एग्जिट करना होगा। बट अदरवाइज दिस इज अ लेवल जहां पे हमें ऐड करना है। हमारे व्यूअर के पास ऑलरेडी पोजीशन है, तो नई
यस।
पोजीशन बना के रिस्क बढ़ाने से बेटर है जो पोजीशन है उसमें बने रहें। 175 का स्टॉप लॉस मेंटेन करें। एट दैट पॉइंट इन टाइम अगर स्टॉप लॉस ट्रिगर होता है तो हमारी चैनल पे आके फिर से एक बार किसी एक्सपर्ट से इंक्वायरी, आई मीन ओपिनियन ले लीजिए। आई थिंक दैट कैन बी अ गुड अप्रोच फॉर इरेडा।
Okay, let's take another question. This is from Satyan Trishur and he's from Kerala. He says, is this carnage good for retail small time investors like me? Do I have opportunity to invest in it? I want to buy some auto stocks, want to enter in M&M, TVS Motors. Is it advisable for next 1 to 2 years time to invest in these, and can I continue to hold even Uno Minda kind of shares in auto ancillary pack? Okay, Satyan, we'll try and address your question. First up, a view on auto space as a whole, and on M&M and TVS Motors. Is it a good enough time to enter right now, Kunal?
See, again, first address our viewer. He mentioned that he's a retail investor and whether this carnage is good for long-term investment. Believe me, every carnage is good for long-term investment. But how do we define carnage is very important. If I just talk about M&M, this counter from the high is down by around 11, 13-14%. In fact, as of now, it's trading near the high of the day, and from the high, it's down by only 11%. 11% should not be the reason for us to think of long term. Long term investment has to be when the counter is down by 25-30%. That's first thing to watch out for. Second, the trend on such counters which he mentioned are absolutely positive. There is no panic at all. So if someone wants to go ahead with buying M&M at this level, it's a clear thumbs up. 2700 to watch out as a stop loss and buy on this level. Just now you must have heard the alert also. That's of Ashok Leyland on my screen. That's also looking very attractive. Entire auto pack is looking very attractive for a momentum point of view.
Okay, hopefully Satyan, this has given you enough and long clarity as to how do you approach these auto stocks right there, and the top recommendations from Kunal also on this one. Let's take Ankur Modi's question. Says, hi, I'm from Jaipur. Hi Ankur, how are you? And he says, hope this hard time too shall pass. Well, yes, Ankur, we're all hoping that, and why not, time is something that has to pass, and no difficult time also stays for far too long, and that's what the nature of time is. So if you're finding it hard, it will pass very soon. So keep that hope on and faith on in the long term story of your investments, of Indian growth story, and stay invested. So his question is, could you please give me a good advice, and for me and for all retail investors, how to handle the current volatility, and how to select where to buy on tips as a strategy? Okay, Kunal, the ball's in your court. How would you advise these small retail investors dealing with high volatility at this point in time, and how best to find out an opportunity to buy and dip in this volatility?
Okay, perfect. So, Sakshi, the biggest problem of the retailers, I mean, again, with all due respect, is that they buy when the markets are at the new high. And
Yeah.
second thing is they buy on the breakout. As far as the trend is concerned, when the market goes up and comes down to make the higher bottom, that's where we get the favorable risk reward ratio. And check out all our conversations on our channel with you and Shell sir. I always mention that rather than chasing the counter on the new breakout, we should be waiting for the correction to initiate the buy. Now let's
Right.
take an example of HCC. This counter was trading near to 50 and 55, 47. QIP came at 43. Now it's trading at 30. Is the
Okay.
trend positive on the weekly chart? Yes, absolutely, it's positive. So, buy such corrections rather than buying on the breakout. That's first thing which one needs to remember. Second, stock selection should be based on the trend. If the last 3 years and 4 years charts are positive, And if the counter is in correction mode near to the previous bottom or somewhere, we should be initiating buy at that time. So as you know, the previous caller actually asked for the auto segment. Yes, it's looking very attractive because almost all the counters are in positive trend. So the stock selection should be based on the trend as well as the previous bottoms where we can get the favorable risk reward ratio.
Okay, we have a caller now with us. Let's go across to our caller also. Sushant is with us from Nashik. Hi Sushant, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All well, thank you. Tell me, what's your question?
I have a stock which is brand concept. I bought it at 300 rupees and I
We
would
didn't
like to
catch the
know
name of the stock.
a brand concept.
Brand concept. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the second stock I have is Stovecraft.
Which one? Stovecraft, the kitchen appliances company. Okay.
Yes,
And what is your horizon for investing in these?
long term. So like 5 years, 10 years horizon I have.
Okay, and both these stocks you already have in your portfolio?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Brand concepts and Stovecraft for you, Kunal. Long term horizon, already existing position is there. What's the outlook on brand concepts and Stovecraft?
So in the brand concept, the it's been the wealth creating idea again. 2021, the levels were 20, 30 rupees, and it has gone up to as high as 900. That's massive. The volumes are really good. Trend is absolutely intact. Last 1 year, we saw some kind of time correction as well as price correction. Price correction has been almost 50%, but it's holding near to 420 zone, 400 zone. I think 400 is a good strong support on the chart. Considering that, one can definitely stay invested. If the counter breaks below 400, then one needs to be cautious. Otherwise, because our viewers, the horizon is pretty long term, he can comfortably stay invested. If the counter manages to go above 500, I think the momentum will pick up very quickly. And coming to the next counter, which is Stovecraft, again, that counter is recently listed counter, good momentum is seen, but this counter has not really decisively crossed the previous highs. Those are 1100 kind of levels, but right now it's near to the support level. Consider the support as 700. Hold on to the position. I think this counter might as well turn as the next wealth creating idea. Even we are onto it. This counter is looking very effective.
Okay, got that. So there you have it, a view that's come in on this one. Let's take another question. This one is from Muni Rajulu from Tirupati. The question is on Tejas Networks and on EPAC Durable. Are these stocks good for long term? Could you please suggest entry levels for both these? Tejas Networks currently at 870 and EPAC Durable at 439. Tejas Networks has a good run up whenever the telecom story buzzes. This is the stock that really catches on to the momentum. EPAC Durable linked to the capital goods, AC space, packaging space. That's also in the recent past has had its good run up, but again has been dwindling and giving up some of its profits too. Kunal, how would you look at these two stocks?
As you rightly mentioned, Tejas Network is more like a story-driven counter, but yeah, equally wealth creation idea. Off lately, what we have seen is the selling volumes picking up on the counter, and counter has come down really sharply. The only support level which I can see on the chart right now is 800. If the counter stays above 800, stay invested. It's absolutely fine. But below 800, one should take an exit. EPEC was not something which I was tracking. I just recently saw the chart, to be very honest. Trend is very intact, and the support level is near 400 levels. Consider that
Okay.
level and plan your entry accordingly.
Got that. Let's take another one then. We have this question coming in from Anuj Singh. Says, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you as well, Anuj. Good to have you with us. भारत इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स का शेयर 173 के रेट से मेरे पास है और लगभग अगर हम देखें तो 125 शेयर जब खरीदे थे 48% तक का प्रॉफिट हो रहा है. आप क्या करें इस स्टॉक में, आगे की राय दीजिए. ओके. BEL bought at 173 despite the correction that has come in the last few months. Kunal, we've actually seen that Anuj is still holding on to profits. That's a good thing, and we do know that BEL as a company definitely stands tall when we talk about the defense names right there and the kind of opportunities that it gets there. Your sense at 256, what should one do?
You again, with respect to his query, this counter has not broken this 250 mark during entire 2024. And I'm sure if he's holding since 145, he must have noticed also. This counter tested 250 mark almost 5 times in this entire year. Why there is panic in the mind of an investor is just because there is carnage in the other counters. This counter is absolutely holding on to the trend. By any chance, if the closing comes below 250 with a huge volume, then yes, the entire view will come to an end, and probably that will be the time we will think of even shorting the counter. But for now, it's absolutely comfortable and just hold on to it with the stop loss of 250 on the closing level.
Got that. Okay, let's take another question then. We have Siddhu Kumar from Delhi writing in. He's writing in for the first time. Says, "Hi Siddhu, warm welcome to Daily Calls. Good to have you here." His question is on NTPC. He has 600 shares at the rate of 362, and he suggests that ये result के बाद भी NTPC क्यों गिर रहा है और अभी क्या करना चाहिए. Right, the muted results came in, and that's why the pressure has continued on this one. Even though the brokerage houses have still remained positive on probably better valuations and the capex plans that the company has announced. But let's ask Kunal as to how is he looking at the current levels and what would he suggest. His purchase level was 362, currently the stock is at 312. What would you say, Kunal?
Yeah, again, Sakshi, no one can capture the top and the bottom of the market, right? So this counter, even we were holding in our portfolio, the counter went up to as high as 450. When it started tumbling, 380 was the level where we took an exit, just based on the previous bottom breakdown. And now we have reinitiated a buy. This is something which I can say in simplicity because the entire year of 2024, counter held on to 305 as a support level. So stop loss for now is 300. If the counter breaks 300 decisively, then it's a complete exit. But otherwise, this is a support level. Momentum will pick up once the counter goes about 340 mark. So because our viewer is already holding on to the position, it's advisable to maintain the stop loss of 300 for now, revisit the channel at that point in time. If it breaks 300 or if it reclaims 345, I think you will get a better clarity again for the trend.
Okay, got that. Let's look at the other question that we have. This is from Sindhu Ramdas from our YouTube viewers, and Sindhu wants to know, is it a good time to start investing in real estate stocks? What would you say?
Very selectively, yes. So if you look at DLF, yes, I'm very comfortable at 720 levels because it's showing me, the sideways consolidation on the chart. At the same time, if you look at Godrej property, let me just share the levels. Godrej properties, again, this counter corrected sharply, available near March 24 levels. Extreme support is 2100. I think good level to accumulate these counters also, but I'll be very stock specific in the entire real estate segment. So these are the two preferred picks right now.
All right, we'll take one last question with you on the show, Kunal, and this one is from Satya. Says, good afternoon, Sakshi. Good afternoon to you as well, Satya. Good to have you with us. Could you please ask levels to enter Skipper and what's the outlook on this one? Skipper again has been an interesting story all through 2024. We've seen earnings improvement coming in. The stock has also had a good recent past as well. But of course, every stock is coming under the pressure that we have just recently seen. Skipper right now, what would you say?
So the trend on the daily chart has started turning negative, and the strong support of 430 is already broken. So I will be, if I'm a trend follower, I'll look at this counter only if it reclaims 425, 430 mark. Otherwise, avoid this counter. Now, you might feel that we are missing out on capturing the bottom, as I just mentioned in the previous discussion itself. We are not in the market to capture the tops and the bottoms, rather to participate in the rally. So keep that mindset and think of initiating a buy above 430. Revisit our channel at that point in time and ask someone who is available. I think above 430, the previous trend might again resume. So wait for now. Let's not try to catch the falling knife for now.
Let's not try to catch the falling knife. That's the view that's coming in. All right, Kunal, we have to let you go. But before that, just in a few days, we will have the union budget. Tell us, what is your big expectation there? Can the budget bring a lot of momentum back into the D Street that's been, away for a long time? What's your sense?
Yeah. So looking at the sentiments in the market, I think that's the need of an hour also, and that's what maximum people are expecting. But at the same time, because there is a global turmoil which is also started, we'll have
Yeah.
to really, rather than keeping expectation, we'll have to think realistically as to why a particular step is taken. So honestly, this is the only budget in last 3 years where I don't have much expectations. Rather, I'm just expecting not any negative announcement to come in, and that will be sufficient for the markets to, get the lost its charm back. But let's see. I'm just clueless as of now on the budget this time.
Clueless as of now as far as the budget is concerned. Well, we will all probably just wait and watch to find out what the budget really has in store for
Correct.
all of us and the markets and the investors. Well, thank you so much, Kunal, for being with us on the show
Pleasure.
and helping all our viewers out with their strategies. Viewers, we'll
Thanks.
now get into the second segment and we'll welcome another guest on board. We have Mr. Jay Thakkar, the head of derivatives and quant research, vice president at ICICI Securities, now joining in. Jay, welcome and thank you so much for taking the time out. You know, we were just trying to understand just a few days from now and we will have the budget, and there's been already so much nervousness and jitter ahead of this time budget, no pre-budget rally, so to speak, as well. What is your own expectation on what are markets really looking for from the budget?
Hi, very good afternoon to you, Sakshi, and thanks for having me on your show. Well, see, as far as budget is concerned, I'm sure that market is expecting that the government spending would increase because they have a lot of room for the same, right? In this time, because they haven't spent much, we all know, I mean that's been discussed quite a lot in past as well. That the room for government to spend for the capex is quite there because due to election year last year, the spending was relatively low as far as the budgeting was concerned. So you have that room, and that would definitely help the a couple of indices or sectors, rather I would put it that way. One would be definitely the banking and financials. I mean the RBI, the kind of step which they have taken yesterday as well to infuse the liquidity for the purchase of OMO. I mean that's also going to be then that's already helping the market. So I think government spending, credit offtake would definitely help the banking and financials. That's point one. That's the sector to be kept in eye, or one should be watchful of. Second, I think that with that, if going forward, if there is a good growth, Sakshi, and because of which the inflation also comes down, I think there is a good scope for the RBI to cut down rates as well, which will
Yeah.
definitely help the two-wheeler segments to bounce back as well. I mean, you see, the auto sector has corrected quite a lot, and within which the two-wheeler space, mainly Bajaj, Hero, and TVS, and out here, actually, if you also look at the derivatives data, I mean, there is lots of shorts that's got built up out there. So I think there is a good 20-25% which one can actually foresee or assume going forward in the two-wheeler back. So that second sector. Third would definitely be infra. And that's always one of the case, during the budget time as far as India is concerned, India being a developing nation, and the infrastructure is the need for next one or two so decade as well. So there's going to be the one sector which will always be in the limelight. So these are the three sectors. Apart from that, chemicals and fertilizers, and agriculture to keep in mind. I think that's also one sector to be watchful of. I mean, stocks like Chambal Fertilizers or GNFCs, and the chemical, because what stance US takes as far as tariffs on China is concerned, and if India is China plus one, then I think chemical is one space which is quite beaten down, and you can see some good bounce back there as well. So these are the couple of sectors to be watchful of and keep an eye on, I think. And markets are also ahead of the budget, quite likely to bounce back because of the short covering. We have released a report as well based on the current FI selling and the data kind of shorts which we have seen. And actually, if you see, FI selling in index of futures have gone up to almost 3.5 lakhs plus, the open interest, and that has come down to 3 and below. So that the short covering already we have seen in index. I think that will start in the overall market as well. I mean, the panic which we have seen in the last 2 days in mid and small cap indices, Sakshi, I think it will cool off a bit now.
Okay, got that. So that's what the big expectation is. We'll start taking some questions now, Jay, for you from our viewers. A lot of them are waiting. So we'll start taking them one by one. First, we have this question coming in from Karthik S, and he's from Bangalore. He says, I have 100 shares of REC at 500 rupees. What should I do now? Average out or sell? What should my strategy be? REC.
Sure. So actually, see, as far as REC or any of the public sector enterprises are concerned, I mean, we have seen good amount of selling coming in these stocks. We have in fact rather seen short build-up as well, right? But now I think that it has come to technically a good support level of around 452. So definitely, if we are assuming a bounce back in the markets from here on, so with the stop loss of 415 on a closing basis, I think Sakshi one can definitely go along. So risk reward is good.
Okay, let's take another one. This is from Vijay Reddy from Hyderabad. Says, can I buy transformer and rectifiers India and Voltam transformers? Both stocks have actually corrected a lot from their highs, but what is the future outlook on both these stocks? Are these good to invest in now from the
Uh,
transformer space?
Sure. Voltam has definitely corrected quite a lot. In fact, what we are seeing is that the momentum has also gone quite also, in fact, and there is a good chance of a bounce back out here. The reason being is the fall which we had seen from 11,500 approximately till now, that is 7,000. So that's almost 4,500 correction that we have seen. I mean, in Voltam, so the bounce back can definitely come in here. It's a good risk reward at least for a bounce. And as far as transformers and rectifiers is concerned, I think there too, I mean, you can see a good bounce back. And both of these stocks have corrected quite a lot. If market is bouncing back from here on until 23,600 at least, that's somewhere to 2.5%. I mean, these stocks are likely to bounce back.
Okay, got that. Let's take another one then. This question is from Ravi Shankar Sivaprakash from our YouTube viewers, and he says, good afternoon, could you please tell me about Atul Auto? I can buy and accumulate at the current level. What would your view be? Atul Auto.
Sure. Sakshi, as far as, I mean, this is again a non-FO stock, but then Achil Auto on a long-term chart structure, if you see, is sort of, it has formed a kind of a double top because, 700, 750 range is where it top, the upside 800 probably, and now it has come to a very crucial support level of 460. So I think, see, long-term chart structure is not that promising until you see a further breakout above the levels of 700. But in the short term, 460 is a very critical support. Actually, so if that's holding out, I mean, you can see some bounce back coming in until 525. But if that breaks, you will see further pain. So the risk reward in the short term for a bounce back is there.
Right. So, Jay, we have a caller also with us on the phone line. Let's go across to Avdesh Kumar Thakur, who is dialed in. Hi, Avdesh. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. बोल रहे थे IOCL and ONG fresh entry medium to long term.
ठीक है. ऑयल एंड गैस स्पेस से दो स्टॉक्स आपने चुने हैं, आईओसी और ओएनजीसी. आप फ्रेश एंट्री के लिए अपॉर्चुनिटी ढूंढ रहे हैं मीडियम टू लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए. जय, ऑयल एंड गैस स्पेस अपस्ट्रीम एंड डाउनस्ट्रीम बोथ, ओएनजीसी एंड आईओसी.
Uh, Well, see, ONGC has been outperforming the Nifty oil and gas sector overall. If you see, I mean, the sector or the index, if you see oil and gas trading at around 10,200 right now. So actually, that have in fact, recently broken the November lows, right? But ONGC has not is outperforming, and I think the bounce which we had seen from 230 until 275 was clearly on account of short covering. So we have seen a good short covering acting there and not further short additions, much of it. So I think the ONGC is relatively better as compared to IOC. As of now, I mean 235, 240 is a good support range. With that as a short loss on the long for a bounce back until 270.
Okay. Let's take another one then. This question is from one of our WhatsApp, from our YouTube viewers, and this is from Jay Rami Reddy, and says, good afternoon, ma'am. How are you? Very well, Jaya, and hope the same for you. He wants to know on NetWeb Technologies, 100 shares at 2,900. What to do now? I can wait for 1 year, so should I add more? Again, Jay, interestingly, there are many discussions happening that probably these stocks are actually falling sharply because of the overall DeepSeek scare that has started impacting USAI giants, and therefore there is some impact on the domestic companies as well, which have some or the other links with AI. Do you think that is the case with NetWeb also? 10% down today, even yesterday it was under pressure. What should one really do with such stocks then?
Sakshi, I would say that NetWeb definitely has corrected quite a lot. I mean, on charts, it had already formed a bearish, I would say, wedge pattern that is anti-diagonal pattern, and from there it has broken down. The history relatively is quite less as compared to many other stocks in the market. And this stock got listed somewhere in August 23, so it's almost 14, 15 months only. Actually, but there is relatively less history for me to comment much on it. All I can say is that the support of this stock is around the levels of 1350. I mean, if it takes a pause there, then it would be a good opportunity for a short-term trader to look out for a bounce back from those levels. 1350 is the level to watch out for. Prior to that, as of now, there is no such major technical support out there.
Okay, got that. So that's the view that's coming in. Let's take another question then. This one is from one of our viewers, Kapil, from our YouTube viewers list. Again, he says, I have Concor at the price of 1150, and I also have CESC shares at 1000. So what should my view be? I have a long term horizon. One is Concor and the other is CESC. So power, logistics, that kind of a space is what he's looking at. Any suggestion here?
Sure. I mean, see, Concor has definitely actually seen good amount of shorts that's got built up. Derivative point of view, if you see, and today the stock is trading with a positive momentum. In fact, I would say that it sort of formed a double bottom as well. We've seen a positive divergence technically as well. I'm expecting a short covering out there because this is one of the stock wherein you have good amount of shorts, and in this monthly settlement week, this week is the monthly expiry. I'm expecting a short covering in this stock at least until the levels of 765 to 770 at least. On the lower side, I think that 738, 740 is a good support range. So bounce back will be seen. That can be, I mean, if something good comes in the budget as far as the railways is concerned or logistics is concerned, then definitely you can see this stock jumping until 785, 800 as well. So Concor is definitely a good contender for a short covering. CSC is a stock which earlier was there in FNO, then went out of the FNO, is now back into the FNO section from December series, and most of the stocks which got included in the December series in the FNO, I mean 45 plus, I mean they had seen a good amount of stocks which got built up out there. CSC is also one amount with that. I think 125 to 128 is a very good support range for CSC in the short term. Until those levels are held, you are quite likely to see a bounce back until 140 to 145 range.
Okay. Right, then we'll take one more question. This is Gul from Kerala, writes in on Sun Pharma and says, I've purchased Sun Pharma shares at 1813 and I want to add more quantity. So, can I do that right now? Sun Pharma, if you know, and if you've been noticing, after many years, it started to perform last year and it's actually performed very well. In fact, the entire pharma basket outperformed in 2024. The index itself was the top performing index too. Now, what you've done is you've actually bought it right at the peak of those many years that we've actually seen. It was a multi-year high for Sun Pharma. Jay, what should one do now?
Well, see, Sakshi, we had discussed this, in the previous call that the three indices which outperformed the previous fall in Nifty, the 3,000 points of fall which we are seeing from 26,300 until 23,263, was Nifty Pharma, Nifty IT, and Nifty Bank. So these are the three indices which outperformed. Nifty bounced back thereafter. Pharma did not bounce much, but then stocks were doing good. And in this fall, particularly, you have seen those indices which outperformed the Nifty in the last fall have corrected. So Nifty Pharma, Nifty Bank corrected, right, by almost 5,000 points approximately. Nifty IT also have corrected, and one which was left was Nifty Pharma, and that too has started correcting. So I think that the correction has just started. I mean, in this particular leg, and now the Nifty Pharma Index still it doesn't go beyond the levels of say 21,500, 22,000 range. The overall outlook for Nifty Pharma is of that of profit booking. So we didn't see much of the shorts in all these stocks of Pharma Index. A couple of stocks. Sun Pharma is one such wherein we have seen short buildup. So since the stock sector trend is negative and as well as we have seen the short buildup, so I think one should be staying away from Sun Pharma. The correction or the ongoing correction can last for some more time as well. I mean, the divis is also one of the outperformers wherein we have seen a cut coming in. We saw Loras, which saw a good correction yesterday. Biocon, which is seeing a good correction today. So I am not liking any of the pharma stocks now. And let me take you to 2015-19 period, Sakshi. Uh, I mean, one has to be watchful out here because there is where Donald Trump was the president-elect then, and we have seen pharma sector did not perform much because he was imposing much of tariff on the Indian pharma because Indian pharma industry, I mean, I would say export quite a lot to the US, and I mean we have started seeing the tariffs, getting imposed on many countries from Trump. So wait and watch for the pharma. I'm not saying that that's likely to happen, but then historically one has to be watchful. I mean, if these kind of things have happened, then it could impact going forward as well. So this sector can go into some kind of a consolidation mode because it has already seen a good amount of it.
Right, okay, understood. That's a wide view. I hope this helps out all our viewers tracking pharma. कल्पेश पटेल है हमारे साथ, कॉलर हैं फोन लाइन पर. हाय कल्पेश, कैसे हैं आप?
मैम मैं एकदम बढ़िया हूँ, आप कैसे हो मैम? आज
मैं
मार्केट
ठीक
भी
हूँ.
अच्छा है तो सबकी है ये अच्छा लग रहा है आज.
चलिए बढ़िया है, बाजार में आज का दिन बेटर लग रहा है आपको, बताइए.
अब मैम आज का क्वेश्चन जरा फंडामेंटल के ऊपर था. ये जैसे ये एआई आया था तो एनवीडिया का शेयर काफ़ी चल गया था और हमारा आईटी सेक्टर उसके बाद परफॉर्म करना बंद कर दिया था. तो ये अभी कुछ चाइना में कुछ DeepSeek आया है तो उसकी वजह से एनवीडिया अगर 20 से टूट गया है तो ये हमारे आईटी के लिए कितना नेगेटिव आगे हो सकता है, तो कंपटीशन हो सकता है. और ये अभी कल शाम को आरबीआई ने जैसे कुछ अपने ओएम का कुछ विंडो ओपन कर दिया है 1.5 लाख करोड़ का, तो उससे क्या बैंक निफ्टी सपोर्ट करेगा, ऐसा आईटी टूटेगा, ऐसा कुछ हो सकता है?
ठीक है, आपका सवाल बहुत ही बढ़िया है कल्पेश जी, और आप लगातार बहुत क्लोजली न्यूज़ को फॉलो कर रहे हैं, ये भी हमें देखने को मिल रहा है. जी, आपके ये जो सवाल है ये आज सुबह से ही हम सभी एनालिस्ट से बातचीत कर रहे हैं और पता कर रहे हैं कि डीप सीक का इम्पैक्ट इंडियन आईटी पर क्या होगा. हमने अभी जय से भी ये सवाल किया था, और इसके अलावा निफ्टी बैंक पर भी आपका क्वेश्चन है कि आरबीआई के लिक्विडिटी मेजर्स इन्फ्यूज़ करने के बाद बैंकिंग क्षेत्र में अब किस तरीके से आगे बढ़े. तो दोनों के सवालों का जवाब ले लेते हैं. जय, बताइए आईटी सेक्टर पर इम्पैक्ट डीप सीक जैसे एआई टेक्नोलॉजीज का और बैंकिंग क्षेत्र में आरबीआई के लिक्विडिटी मेजर्स का.
बेस्ट एज फार एज इंडियन आईटी का सवाल है साक्षी, देन मैं कहूंगा कि देखिए इंडियन आईटी को ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट ये नहीं करेगा रिलेटिव टू दैट ऑफ द यूएस, चाहे वो एनवीडिया हो जाए और अदर बिग 7 हो जाए. वहां पे आई मीन वहां पे ज्यादा इम्पैक्टफुल है बिकॉज वहां पे दे हैड स्पेंड बिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर्स ओपन एआई वगैरह में, बट यहाँ पे ये लोग ने 6 मिलियन में कर दिया. So I think the competition is more to the US firms and not the Indian IT firms. Indian IT firm का काम दूसरा है relatively, तो I think वो अच्छा है, वो global IT को US IT को भी outperform कर सकता है यहाँ से because of this, because of they not being into much of the AI. But जहाँ तक बैंकिंग का सवाल है, मैं कहूँगा देखिए ये पॉजिटिव तो था ही, और आज देख रहे हैं बैंक निफ्टी 49,000 के ऊपर, और अगर ये 49,000 के ऊपर सस्टेन करता है आपको कॉल अनवाइंडिंग फर्दर देखने मिलेगी एटलीस्ट अंटिल द एक्सपायरी. बैंक निफ्टी ऐसे भी काफी ओवरसोल्ड था सब. आई मीन 0.5 से 0.6 के बीच में उसका पीसीआर 48,500 के कॉल में अनवाइंडिंग देखने मिला, 49 के 1000 के कॉल में भी अनवाइंडिंग देखने मिल रहा है. डबल बॉटम फॉर्म हुआ है स्पॉट पे, फ्यूचर्स पे मॉर्निंग स्टार कैंडलस्टिक पैटर्न फॉर्म हुआ है. सो रिलेटिव आउट परफॉर्मेंस तो आपको देखने मिलेगा. इनफैक्ट मैं ये समझता हूँ साक्षी, अगर आप देखिए नेक्स्ट मंथ के फ्यूचर्स, वेब फ्यूचर्स ऑलरेडी 300-350 पॉइंट आपके प्रीमियम में है, राइट. सो अगर आप एक्सपायरी तक अगर 49,500-600 तक जाते हैं और वेब सीरीज सीधा ओपन ही होगा 50,000 पे ahead of the budget, एंड आप कहेंगे कि ब्रेकआउट भी आ गया. सो आई थिंक रिलेटिवली निफ्टी बैंक इज राइट नाउ पॉजिटिव. एंड आप देखिए कि ये फॉल में 5,000 पॉइंट के फॉल में उसमें शॉर्ट्स भी काफी एक्यूमुलेट हुए थे. एक्सिस बैंक वाज वन ऑफ द स्टॉक वेयरिंग वी हैव सीन ह्यूज शॉर्ट्स, वहां पे आपको कवरिंग देखने मिल सकती है. आई वुड नॉट कमेंट मोर ऑफ आईसीआईसीआई बैंक, आई कैन नॉट, बट देन एचडीएफसी बैंक में आपने शॉर्ट्स देखे, वहां पे आपको कवरिंग देखने मिल रही है. कोटक में लॉन्ग है, एसबीआई में शॉर्ट देखने मिले, वहां पे कवरिंग देखने मिल रही है. सो आई थिंक शॉर्ट कवरिंग कैन टेक बैंक निफ्टी टू 49,500, 50,000 इन दिस वीक.
ओके, एक आखिरी सवाल लेते हैं जय, ये अमन का है और ये कुशीनगर यूपी से है. लिखते हैं आई बॉट विशाल मेगा मार्ट एट 110, हाउ लॉन्ग विल इट टेक टू रिकवर. ये सवाल है इनका. याद होगा आपको जय, जब ये रिटेल स्पेस की लगातार बात हो रही थी, ट्रेंट ने आउट परफॉर्म किया 2024 में, निफ्टी को भी वेल्थ क्रिएट करके दी, डबल की इन्वेस्टर्स की वेल्थ। इसी के साथ साथ बाकी के रिटेल क्षेत्र के स्टॉक्स में काफ़ी मोमेंटम आया जब नए लिस्टिंग्स हो रही थी, आईपीओज आ रहे थे। अभी विशाल मेगा मार्ट को आपने क्या स्टडी किया है एट ऑल, और पूरे ही रिटेल स्पेस में आपको कौन सा पसंदीदा स्टॉक लगता है?
नहीं, definitely the trend has been one of the very outperforming stock in the past. I mean, जो हिसाब का उसने wealth बनाया इन्वेस्टर्स का, मतलब एंड फिर निफ्टी 50 में आ गया, राइट? एंड वहाँ पे भी थोड़ा करेक्शन जो हमें देखने मिल रहा है, दैट कैन कंटिन्यू साक्षी, बट मार्केट के साथ एज ऑफ नाउ आई थिंक ट्रेंड में आपको थोड़ा बाउंस बैक देखने मिलेगा। शॉर्ट्स काफी एक्यूमुलेट हुए हैं। मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि 5200 से 5300 की रेंज में एक अच्छा सपोर्ट है। ऊपर में आपको 57-58 के लेवल्स एटलीस्ट ये वीक में आपको देखने मिल सकते हैं ऑन अकाउंट ऑफ शॉर्ट कवरिंग। सो ट्रेंड ही शॉर्ट कवरिंग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू मुझे पसंद है, नॉट फॉर द मीडियम टू लॉन्ग टर्म। आई एम सेइंग मीडियम लॉन्ग टर्म ट्रेंड अभी भी उसका ट्रेंड का नीचे है, जो अभी रिवर्सल हमें देखने मिला उसके कारण। जहां तक शॉर्ट कवरिंग का सवाल है, ट्रेंड इज द स्टॉक टू प्ले आउट फॉर इन द शॉर्ट टर्म। बट जहां तक वीएमएम का सवाल है, विशाल मेगा मार्ट, साक्षी का लिस्टिंग ही रिसेंटली हुआ है, आई मीन दिसंबर मिड। सो कहना मुश्किल होगा टेक्निकली, बिकॉज डेटा ज्यादा है नहीं। यहाँ पे लिस्ट हुआ था 100 रुपए के आसपास, गया था 120 तक, एंड अब वापस 100 रुपए के आसपास ही है, तो ऑलमोस्ट फ्लैट है। सो कहना मुश्किल होगा कि इसमें क्या करें, बट ट्रेंड फ्रॉम द शॉर्ट कवरिंग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू इज अ बिट कैंडिडेट।
जी बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने जय, और ओवरऑल आई एम होपिंग कि ये पूरा रिटेल स्पेस की अंडरस्टैंडिंग आपको बेहतर मिली हो। जय, वी हैव टू थैंक यू एंड वाइंड अप द शो नाउ, ऑल्दो द क्वेश्चंस आर कंटिन्यूइंग टू पोर इन टू ऑल द व्यूअर्स। जिन लोगों के सवाल हम आज नहीं ले पाए, उनसे दरख्वास्त करेंगे कि आप सवाल कल पूछें। एक बार फिर से नए एडिशन के साथ कल दोबारा 12 बजे हाजिर होंगे डेली कॉल्स में। और जय जैसे ही तमाम टॉप मार्केट एक्सपर्ट्स हमारे इस शो पर आते हैं आपको सही गाइडेंस देने के लिए, एंड दैट्स व्हाई वी लॉन्च दिस शो। इंस्टेड ऑफ जस्ट बैंकिंग ऑन वट एवर व्हाट्सएप टिप्स और सोशल मीडिया टिप्स दैट you get, it's always better to take the right advice from market experts like Jay, who've been studying the markets for decades, and they truly can help you out. So always, it's your hard-earned money. If you really want to invest and make money in markets, it'll be better if you take that guidance and do that. And therefore, we always welcome. Yes, Jay.
Thank you, Sakshi, for bringing this point out. It's it was really required, and you're doing a great job. Business Today is doing a great job. You're also doing a great job in educating the investors and traders in the markets. And I would also like to take this opportunity that Sakshi has correctly pointed out that instead of following anyone without actually you validating also okay, whether the correct person is giving you the recommendation is not, people fall into the trap. So don't be that. I mean, over the social media, this is what happens. आप चेक ही नहीं करते, काफी लोग हमें भी पता चलता है, हम भी नोटिफाई करते हैं काफी इन्वेस्टर को, पता ही नहीं चलता कि सही जगह से आ रहा है कि नहीं, और आप बाद में स्कैम में फंस जाते हो। अवॉइड दैट, चेक दैट योर हार्ड अर्न मनी इज वेरी मच रिक्वायर्ड। The regulators are also doing the very good job. They are also doing the necessary steps. Please ख्याल रखिए अपना और अपने portfolio में. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jay, for bringing that out for all our viewers to really reiterate. And thank you for all the efforts. You're coming back again and again and helping all our viewers, patiently addressing all the queries.
Always
so
a
thanks
pleasure,
a lot
Sakshi.
for that to you.
Always a
All
pleasure.
right. Thank you. With that, viewers, we wrap up our special edition of Daily Calls right now. But do stay tuned. Market conversations and earnings conversations will continue to follow right on your screens even after this. So stay tuned on Business Today Television. Move over ChatGPT. The next big AI buzzword in the world is DeepSeek, a Chinese startup which is shaking up the tech world with its groundbreaking AI product release, the DeepSeek R1.